You're tapped into Japan Journal with Mal Adams, the internet's #1 weekly English language online cybercast from Japan, streaming on GNN, the Global News Network, a division of Totown Communications Company Limited, Japan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special digital stream of Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams. As we stand on the brink of the 2024 presidential election, our nation faces a critical moment, a moment that will define the future of our democracy. Tonight, we aim to inspire every American, regardless of race, religion, faith, sexual orientation, economic status, or age, to get out and vote in support of the Democratic presidential nominee, Kamala Harris, and her running mate, Tim Walz. Time is short, the stakes are high, and every single vote counts. So let's dive into just why this election matters so much. We begin with the urgency of time. In just a few short weeks, Americans will make a choice that will shape the future of our country. This election isn't just another political contest, it's a battle for the soul of our nation. With Kamala Harris at the helm, we have a chance to preserve and strengthen our democracy, ensuring that it works for all Americans. Her commitment to justice, equality, and opportunity stands in stark contrast to the divisive and dangerous rhetoric of her opponent, Donald Trump. So, joining me tonight, our special guest contributors from Democrats Abroad, in addition to Japan-based scholars, historians, and educators from the U.S. and Japan. Together, we will discuss the significance of this election and how every vote, especially from expatriates here in Japan, can make a difference. Let's talk a little bit about those items. But I want to go to Nicky now, who's my longtime friend, former president of the Japan Afro-American Friendship Association, which is now being renewed and regenerated. We've got new leadership. But Nicky is an old school guy like me. In Japan, we call Oyaji, Kyodai. He's my young brother. But Nicky, I'm sure you just heard what she said, talking about the Japanese sentiment as she heard it in New York about whether America is ready for a female lady of color to become the most powerful person on the planet. And it's just incredible. What are you hearing in the Japanese media and from Japanese politicians about, first of all, if they think it's going to happen, if it works for them, or is it going to change the dynamic relationship between U.S. government and Japanese government in terms of a female being at the helm? You're a Japanese guy. I know this is a man's world, my brother, but talk to me. What are your sentiments? What are you hearing about that?
Okay, the general sentiment is that expectation for Harris to win is big. Like Japanese media is in favor of Harris and then Walz team, and they are not really with the Trump movements. So they're in favor of this Harris.
Okay,
that's a general in Japanese media. Politicians, they are not talking about American politics. No, at least I have never heard any voices.
Along the same lines, let me ask my young colleague here, Tiffany, particularly young people and particularly young ladies, are you getting any feedback from your Japanese colleagues and friends? By way of introduction, this is Tiffany Rachel, who is an African-American, obviously, but born and raised in Japan, so her first language is Japanese. She was my co-host at the recent Juneteenth gala that we held in Tokyo. I was the MC, but they assigned her to me, and we said, well, let's do this bilingual, because we had over 300 African-Americans who majority of them came from the base and gathered in Tokyo, but we had plenty of Japanese supporters adhering to African-American culture, singing in gospel choirs and all of this. But the interest was great. It was very enthusiastic. But I'm wondering, Tiffany, what can you tell me about the wakamono, the young people of Japan? What you're hearing? Can you share their sentiments based on this brand new, incredible phenomenon? Dozo.
Yeah, so to add on to like my background, so I would say my fan groups is like it's like half Japanese, half Americans, some of them are African Americans, things like that. So among the African Americans, like you said, Sarah Jane, a lot of people are not interested because they moved out here. The reason why they moved out here is to like get away from all of that and everything. So now that in the Democratic Party is switched from Biden to Kamala, I've heard a little more, and the main influences like from, for example, Megan Thee Stallion posting Instagram reel saying "Hotties for Harris," you know, things like that. And so from that, growing like a little more interest here and there. But I still haven't heard anybody say I'm going to vote this time around. So hopefully maybe through this we'll hear more conversation, but we'll see.
Tiffany, do me a favor right now. 日本語のご覧の皆さん、ちょっと日本語で説明してください。この番組の目標は、若者、特に黒人たち、get out the vote ということは、一言してください。日本人の若者を聞いている人に合わせてください。どうぞ。
ですね、どう思ってるか。まあ、この番組の目的としては、11月の、大統領選挙の立候補者が、どっちに寄りかかるかっていうのは結構大事な時期になっているっていうことで、なるべくそのアメリカ人の方が、海外に住んでる方々が特に今回の選挙に投票しに行くっていうのが目標なので、どれぐらい大事なのかっていうのは、こういうイベントを通して、重要性を高めていったりとか盛り上げていくっていうのが今回の目的でありまして、私が、なんで今回参加しているかと言いますと、自分自身がアメリカ人だっていうことと、今回の、大統領選挙の立候補者にアフリカ系アメリカ人と、その南アジアの、血が入ってる方がいるっていうことで、アフリカ系アメリカ人と、日本にいるっていうことで、その参加しない理由がないっていうところで、今回全力でサポートさせていただきたいっていうところで、しかも自分の周りにもアメリカ人の方が日本に住んでるっていうところで、あんまりその選挙に興味がないっていう方が多かったりするんですけど、今回は結構重要だっていうことと、そのうちらが海外にいるって感じなんですけど、家族がまだアメリカにいるということで、自分自身だけのことを考えずに、アメリカに住んでる家族のことも考えたら、なるべくいい方を選択した方がいいっていうところで、今回参加するのが一番だっていうふうに思ってて、自分もこの場を使っていろいろと発信していきたいなと思ってるので、はい、よろしくお願いします。
Let's call it a night. We're going to do this again, and I hope everybody will join us and participate. Sarah Jean, thank you very much.
Thank
Natalia,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Angela over there, we got your back as to whatever the Black Caucus wants to do. Don't hesitate to call on us over here at Democrats Abroad Japan.
Definitely.
Well,
I'm so happy to meet all of you. It's so nice. The positivity in general, but everybody here is so positive, and I'm a little bit overwhelmed by it, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's contagious, and that's what we intend to do. We're going to generate this kind of positivity throughout, because we're gonna do this. We're gonna make this happen. So I will share this video with all of you for your own platforms. Nicky, and Tiffany, you and I will do some Japanese translation and get it out into the Japanese media. So let us know that we're doing our thing as expat Americans who live abroad. Don't get it twisted. Here we come, and we're going to make the difference. Okay? Thank you, everybody. And
Thank you. Have a good night.
Japan Journal.
Bye-bye.
I'm your host, Mal Adams. And stay tuned to this channel because we're coming back with more. Sayonara from Japan.
Sayonara.
Thank you. All right, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you. Love you guys, man. Let's make this happen. Nicky, sayonara. Mata ne. Yoroshiku. Okay, どうぞ。それで終わります。In summary, tonight we've heard from experts and passionate advocates about the importance of this election. We've discussed the urgency, the historic significance, and the key issues at stake. Now it's up to you. If you're an American living in Japan or anywhere else abroad, your vote can make a difference. Register with Democrats Abroad, request your ballot, and get involved. And let's stand together so we don't fall apart. And support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to ensure that democracy prevails. I'd like to thank you all for joining us and our viewers all over the world of the Global News Network on this special digital streaming episode of Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams, urging you to stay informed, stay engaged, and most of all, and most importantly, get out and vote. So for all of my guests here, thank you very much. I bid you sayonara from Japan. Let's do this, because when we fight, as Kamala says, we win.
We win.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I
I'll be
appreciate
back.
you. All right. And I bid you good day.
You're tapped into Japan Journal with Mal Adams, the internet's #1 weekly English language online cybercast from Japan, streaming on GNN, the Global News Network, a division of Totown Communications Company Limited, Japan.